I do it right? We can bring her back.
Greetings and salutations, guys. I'm here with my review of Bring Her Back. This is the new film from Michael and Danny Philippou. These are the directors who made their feature film debut a couple years ago with Talk to Me, a movie I really dug. And before that, of course, they got a nice amount of fame right here on a website called YouTube when they were known as Raka Raka. But yeah, as you know, a sophomore feature film, there's always going to be a lot of eyes on, can you deliver again? Can you live up to the potential you showed that first time? And I think they completely did in a really big and really interesting way. This movie focuses on step-siblings Piper and Andy. Their father has just passed away, and they are sent into foster care with Laura, played by Sally Hawkins, who is, very outgoing and very welcoming and has a lot of energy. She can be a lot. That much is clear from the get-go. But there's also a lot going on that feels very off in her home, starting with her other foster child, who's named Oliver, who is very odd. He is a strange child. He is not speaking, which she says is by choice. He acts very bizarrely and sometimes dangerously. And then Laura herself, there's just a lot of things about her that are, inappropriate. Some of the ways she acts around the kids and some of the things she says off the cuff. And it starts to become clear that there is something very, very wrong in this household. Talk to Me was, I think, just a really impressive debut movie. I thought it just felt like these guys knew exactly what they wanted to do from the get-go. It had such great energy to it. It was really effective, has, the creepy factor of it, but also just sort of the drive of that film. It really kind of pulsated that movie in a really exciting way. What's interesting about Bring Her Back as a follow-up is that on one hand, it feels like a natural follow-up for these guys. Like, I'm watching this movie as it begins. I'm like, yeah, this feels like the same filmmakers has Talked to Me. But then where it goes ultimately feels very tonally like it's in a different direction. Because you could describe Talk to Me as fun. And I know it was very, dark and twisted in its own way and has that, messed up scene where, a kid who's like 14 years old, he slams his face into a table over and over and it's horrible and gory. But at the same time, you have this energy of these kids and they're hanging out and they're playing this very dangerous game that is going to go horribly for them. But there is still that vibe, that fun nature to it. That is gone here in Bring Her Back. Not to say that it's humorless, but it is ultimately going for something a lot deeper and a lot more emotional and ultimately a lot sadder. Talk to Me also had themes about loss, but this one I think does really kind of dig into that in a bigger way. These kids are dealing with the loss of their father and what he meant to them and the different things he meant to each of them. And then Laura is dealing with the loss of her daughter. And how she's dealing with that is not great. And of course opens the door to where this movie is going as far as the creepiness in this house and what she is attempting to do and why is Oliver so messed up and what are these strange videos that Laura keeps watching that seem to have some really upsetting things happening on them. But she is dealing with a very genuine loss that both I think the Philippou brothers as directors, but also Sally Hawkins, play very, very real. And it's such an interesting balance because this movie goes for it on sort of the nasty horror level. And I'm not saying it's wall-to-wall this, but there are moments in this movie that are absolutely gnarly, gore, self-mutilation, things that will have everyone just going, oh my god, when they're watching a character do the things that they do in this movie. But then there are also scenes that are going for pretty deep, heartfelt, make you cry moments, and they both land. I was describing to some people and I said it's as if Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or maybe a better analogy is the recent Evil Dead movies, the 2013 one and Evil Dead Rise, which are, very nasty and visceral. What if those movies also were very sad and, will elicit tears? And I thought it was so great how it could do both. I also realized that this movie is probably nowhere near as commercial as Talk to Me because it has got such a strange mixture of elements here, and that people who go to see a really gnarly, nasty, gory movie might not want to feel big, deep, heartfelt emotions, and on the flip side, people who want to go see a movie about loss and how people process things, they might not want to see the gory part too. But for those of us who do mix those things together and can just be like, wow, this movie is giving me everything. It is giving me all the feels, but in a different way than that normally means. I think that this is just a really impressive accomplishment. I mentioned Sally Hawkins before. Obviously, she is a very established, very terrific actress, but I think that she really gives an amazing performance here. Has a character who is sort of holding on, barely holding on. Some would say she's not holding on in the wake of this tragedy, and has gone to some very extreme lengths because of this tragedy. And then the kids. This is something where you really see the holdover from Talk to Me, because I think Talk to Me, one of the things that made that movie so accessible and great was that you really believed these kids and they felt very naturalistic, and we just kind of were plopped down into their lives when everything went insane. And once again here, I think that the Philippou brothers, they have a real knack for both writing. Danny co-wrote this movie with Bill Hinsman, the same duo who wrote Talk to Me, but also directing and eliciting performances from young actors that feel so believable. And I love these kids. You instantly feel and care for Andy and Piper from the moment you meet them. And Billy Barrett is really excellent as Andy here. He feels just like such a real kid, as far as, you know, he's this teenager on the cusp of manhood. He's dealing with this terrible situation. He's trying to do what's right by his sister, but he has a lot of his own burdens. And then I was really impressed by Sora Wong, who is a first-time actress here as Piper. You meet this young girl. She is sight impaired. She is mostly blind. And we see the life she lives and the fact that she's treated like crap by some of her classmates. And you instantly care about her. You instantly want to protect her from the world. And of course, this movie is going to just put her in more danger in a lot of really horrifying ways. So you just care about these kids. You want good things to happen for them in a movie that is designed to make bad things happen around them, at least, and possibly to them. And there's just a lot of empathy that I think the Philippou brothers get from these characters, and they're so good at that. I also was really impressed by Jonah Wren Phillips as Oliver, who is, you know, a very young kid, and he has to do an amazing physical performance here. Has this very strange, very upsetting, very often just outright deranged little kid. And he really goes for it in a lot of ways. So, yeah, you know, most of this movie is just set around the house. It's mostly 4 actors in one set. And it really holds you. It really grabs you. It takes you through such a real journey, feeling all these things, reacting to all these things that you're seeing and going through along the way. When the movie ends, you know, it ends on, you know, a somber feeling. You know, you go out of this movie and you're not like, wow, yeah, that was kick-ass, or that, you know, that was, you know, a really exciting time at the movies. So again, challenging, but in a way that I really appreciated, because I think that they deliver on that challenge. It's not just like, oh, they made something that's difficult, but it doesn't really come together. I think this movie really, really works. It's, I think, one of the best movies I've seen this year, and just a real evolution for them from Talk to Me, which was already so skillfully made. But now we see them just kind of working in a same but different terrain, and I really like that they are showing that they can do that in the horror genre. So yeah, big recommendation here for Bring Her Back, even as I know it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I think for people who can kind of go in with open heart and open eyes for the extreme gory moments, and kind of get ready for the crazy blend that the Philippou brothers are going to bring you here, there is a lot to really, really just sort of appreciate and be impressed by throughout the film. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you can like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. Be back with more. Take care.